Hey, everybody. Happy 9/11 Memorial, September 11th, 2013. Don't know if I should say happy 9/11 Memorial, but in any event, there we are. September 11th, 2013, I am your steadfast advocate for health, your friendly neighborhood naturopath, Dr. Peter Glidden. And check this out, breaking news, the Senate passes. Are you sitting down here? They actually got it right this time. Every once in a while, a little flicker of light shines in the dark cave of modern day culture. The Senate passes Naturopathic Medicine Week resolution. How about that? The U.S. Senate last night unanimously passed a resolution designating October 7th to October 13th as Naturopathic Medicine Week. Hallelujah, and pass the hat. The resolution recognizes the value of naturopathic medicine in providing safe, effective, and affordable health care, and encourages Americans to learn about the role of naturopathic physicians in preventing chronic and debilitating conditions, and in treating them, I should say. Passage of this resolution is an historic achievement for naturopathic medicine. The Congress has now officially recognized the important role naturopathic medicine plays in effectively addressing the nation's health care needs, as well as in addressing the increasingly severe shortage of primary care physicians. My, oh my, how the worm has turned. This is really the reason that this is happening. For the latest information about the Naturopathic Medicine Week, which I'm going to be talking about more and more, this just came across my desk 2 minutes before the show started. October 7th to October 13th, we're going to go crazy that week here on Fire Your MD. Now, I'm going to talk to naturopathic luminaries from all around the world. I'm going to schedule them up. I'm going to start to schedule them tomorrow, so put it in your calendar. October 7th to October 13th, we're going to let our hair down and hang out with some of the most prominent naturopathic physicians in the world. You can always check out the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians website. That's naturopathic.org. N-A-T like Thomas, U-R-O. P like Peter, A-T-H-I-C. .org, naturopathic.org. How about that? It's Senate Resolution 221, by the way, if you're a bean counter. Senate Resolution 221 just passed last night, designating October 7th to October 13th as Naturopathic Medicine Week. My, oh my, oh my. Gotta love it. Again, in breaking news, 1 hour ago on Forbes, almost 1 in 5 intensive care patients may be getting futile treatment. 1 in 5 intensive care patients may be getting futile treatment. Almost 1 of every 5 patients, I quote, almost 1 of every 5 patients in the intensive care units of a major teaching hospital got treatment that was futile or probably futile, according to the doctors who treated them. And older patients, especially those admitted from a nursing facility, were most likely to get care that does nothing to improve their quality of life or even keep them alive for more than a brief period of time. End quote. Now, can you imagine what would happen if a naturopathic doctor got caught red-handed doing something like this? Delivering ineffective, substandard, needless, and unnecessary and dangerous treatments. Can you imagine what would happen? Can you imagine what would happen if an acupuncturist or an herbalist or a chiropractor or a traditional Chinese medical practitioner or a homeopath or a layperson, gave too much of an herb to their neighbor by mistake? It'd be front page news, would be pilloried in the town square because, when you're in the minority, you get hammered, and when you're the majority, you can get away with murder. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical treatment, 780,000 people a year. 780,000 people a year are killed because they went to see an MD. And now, even Forbes, that's about as mainstream as it gets, right? That's about as conservative as it gets. Forbes magazine comes out and publishes an article that says the doctors admit that the stuff that they do, 1 in 5, for goodness sake, 1 in 5, that's 20%, 1 in 5, 20% of the treatments that are delivered at this one particular hospital was unnecessary and ineffective, and what the heck. Now, we can extrapolate these numbers across the board because, the apple don't fall far from the tree. MDs do as MDs do, and they do what they do because they believe they're God and they can get away with everything. MD, of course, stands for medical deity, and because there's no slap of the wrist here, because they have virtual impunity to do whatever the heck they want to do with no consequences whatsoever. I mean, if a medical doctor walked into a waiting room and pulled out a gun and shot a patient, there would be consequences. But when they give them a drug that kills them, no consequences, and we pass the hat, we pass the buck. There are no consequences for this type of nonsense, because when you're in the driver's seat, you can do whatever you want. You know, and this is why we do what we do. This is why my colleague, Dr. Wallach, the founder of Youngevity, in his wisdom, set Youngevity up as a networked grassroots business, because we are attempting to forward our message of sane, pragmatic, practical, results-oriented, safe, effective, and affordable boilerplate foundation medical nutrition health recovery protocols to as many people as will listen, because the MDs are doing nonsense like this, as just reported by Forbes. Not only are they doing nonsense like this, but, you know, while they've been driving the bus, everything gets worse. I mean, look, go to Walmart. Go to Kmart, go to Target, go to Home Depot this weekend and just hang out there. You know, get a little lawn chair and stick it, you know, just sit in your car with some binoculars and watch the people parading in and out of these places. It's like the walking wounded. 72% of Americans are on prescription medications. And remember, prescription medications don't fix anything. They manage the problem. It's pretty good for the drug companies. Not so great for you or me. And, you know, everybody's overweight. Everybody's struggling. Everybody doesn't have enough energy. Everybody's hair is white or gray. Everybody has arthritic knees. Everybody has blood sugar problems or heart problems or blood pressure problems or skin problems. It's the standard. Medical mediocrity. You know, unless you're sick, unless you have like something seriously wrong with you, enough to warrant a prescription medication, then you are not the norm. I'm 54 years old. I don't take any prescription meds. I've never been on a prescription medication in my life. And it ain't genetic. I'll have you talk to my brothers and sisters. You can see how they're doing. Look, when you give the body the right stuff, the body responds. When you give the body the raw materials that it needs in order to fix itself, the body rallies and fixes itself. When you stop importing stuff into the body that hurts the joints, hurts the heart, hurts the liver, hurts the gallbladder, hurts the spleen, hurts the skin, hurts the skeleton, guess what? The body starts to respond and fix itself, because it can. And this is the fundamental difference between what holistic physicians bring to the table and what MDs bring to the table. And by the way, in the wonderful world of medicine, right, in the great big pizza pie of medicine, every single solitary medical practitioner in the universe, except the MD, aligns themselves with a type of medical philosophy called holism, holistic medicine. The MDs align themselves with a type of medicine called reductionism, and they're the only ones that do it. And reductionism is old-fashioned and outdated. It's based on Newtonian physics. It argues that the human body is a machine made of parts, and that when you're sick, you're screwed. Your only option is to let the doctor march in with a drug to synthetically take control of the human body and manage the stuff that's going on in the human body, because you don't have the ability to fix it. Your body is stupid. MDs argue, well, if your body was smart, you never would have gotten sick in the first place. So they're not trained to fix anything. They're trained to manage everything with man-made synthetic symptom-suppressive drugs. But because they've monopolized the medical theater for so long, this is what we're used to. So we're used to taking the stuff every day, taking the blood pressure medicine every day for 2 years until it doesn't work anymore. And then they need to either up the dose or add a medicine to it, or give you the next designer drug. They throw as much stuff as they can against the wall. I had a patient call me up 3 days ago. They're on 5 different medications for high blood pressure. 5 different meds for high blood pressure. Now, does that make you feel warm and fuzzy? I mean, why do they need 5 meds? If the MDs were up to snuff, I mean, if they were really, really good at what they did, wouldn't you think they'd need just one? Wouldn't you think they'd need just one for just a little bit of time? But no, what's the standard of care here is 2, 3, 4, 5 different medications for one problem. And everybody gets sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker, and that's why we have a job. Now, if you know somebody in your life who's suffering with high blood pressure, who's suffering with arthritis, who's suffering with fibromyalgia, who's suffering with restless legs at night in bed, who has sleep apnea, who has fibromyalgia, who has heartburn, who has eczema, seborrhea, or the heartbreak of psoriasis, if you know someone in your life who's suffering with infertility, if you know someone who has a child that has ADD or ADHD, well, you need to bring them to this radio show because we have science-based, clinically verified solutions formulated and delivered by licensed and regulated naturopathic physicians. You don't need a private consultation. You can have one if you want, but you don't need it. What you need to do is stop eating food that's coming up the works and give your body the stuff it needs to fix itself and get the heck out of the way and let the healing begin. And then you need to fire your MD. Because the skill set that they bring to bear here is only useful for surgery and trauma care. That's the wheelhouse of the MD. They're really good at that. Well, most of the time they're good at that, but that's their wheelhouse. For everything else, you need to fire the MD and talk to us. 866-582-9933 is the number to call to speak with me live today, 866-582-9933. If you're listening to the podcast and want info, 855-347-3696. When we come back, we're going to go to Maryland and talk to Ralph. Stick around, everybody. I am Dr. Peter Glidden. It's September 11th, 2013. Back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Encouraging you today and every day to, just saddle up, ride off into the sunset. But first, fire your MD. Stop eating the 10 bad foods and make sure you have in your saddlebags the Healthy Start Pack and selenium appropriate for body weight. 1 Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month and 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds of body weight per month is the best health insurance you can ever buy because it actually helps to make your body stronger. Imagine that. Ralph from Maryland is up now with stroke-like symptoms. I think, hey, Ralph, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
How you doing, Dr. Glidden? Yes, I'm calling about a lady who suffered stroke-like symptoms between 5 and 10 years ago, and she had some kind of surgery, and since then her motor skills have not completely returned, and she is still suffering partial paralysis.
Do you know what type of surgery she had? I mean, you know what they operated on?
Well, from what I understand, there was a fluid buildup, so that the surgery, which apparently was in the right rear of the skull, actually was to remove whatever this growth or fluid buildup was. But that's all I know.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. So, well, that was a long time ago, and it's hard to know what we're able to do here, but in point of fact, regardless of whether we're able to help anything move forward with, recovery from nerve damage like this post-stroke 12 years ago, she needs the 90 essential nutrients anyway moving forward. She needs them, you need them, I need them, everybody needs them. A 1-minute-old baby needs them. A 1-second-old embryo needs them. Everybody in the world needs the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight, regardless of what your health condition is. So I can guarantee that once she cleans up her diet and starts the appropriate nutritional support program, she's going to feel better. Mood's going to get better, energy's going to get better, sleep's going to get better, appetite's going to get better, something's going to get better, if not everything. Now, whether or not she'll be able to bounce back from the damage to her central nervous system, God only knows, but it only makes sense, right, that if the body has the ability to fix it, then it's going to fix it, but it needs raw materials to fix it. So we can't make any promises here because this is such an old illness. But what we can say is, look, we don't know where the body's point of no return is. I don't know where that is. Her MD certainly doesn't know where it is. They completely dropped the ball on this. I mean, I'm glad that they were able to drill a hole in her brain and relieve the fluid, but even that's kind of a barbaric treatment. So the recommendation here, do you know what her body weight is, Ralph?
It's approximately 200 pounds.
So, you know, it'd be the healthy brain and heart pack, right? Be one healthy brain and it will be 2 healthy brain and heart packs because we do 1 per 100 pounds, and 4 bottles of selenium. So 2 healthy brain and heart packs and 4 bottles of selenium a month. Now, there are over 1,000 published studies. 1,000 published studies about a particular sea vegetable called fucoidan. F like Frank, U-C-O-I-D-A-N. Over 1,000 published studies on the positive health benefits of an extract of a sea vegetable called fucoidan. One of the things that fucoidan does is it stimulates the generation of new tissue. It stimulates the generation of new tissue in the body. So, whenever anybody is attempting to grow new tissue anywhere in the body or support and promote the body's ability to fix something, extra fucoidan would be a very, very good idea. And Longevity has that in a little bottle. It's called Z-Radical, Fucoid Z, F-U-C-O-I-D-Z. F-U-C-O-I-D-Z, Fucoid Z. It's under the Escape company in the Longevity family. So when you're in your back office, in the drop-down product list, check the Escape company, and the product is called Fucoid Z. I would have her take as many bottles of Fucoid Z a month as she can afford. I mean as many a month as she can afford. If she can afford a bottle a day, that's what I would do. If she can afford a bottle a week, then that's what I would do. If she can afford a bottle a month, that's what I would do. In addition to that, of course, because, you know, this is a central nervous system thing, right? In addition to eliminating the 10 bad foods and taking the appropriate medical nutrition into her body, we also want to feed the body the stuff that nerves are made from, and that's cholesterol. So the recommendation here would be a diet that's very high in cholesterol. Eggs, full-fat milk, full-fat yogurt, butter, chicken with the skin. Throw the chicken away, just eat the skin. Go crazy for cholesterol for 90 days and tell us how she feels. Thanks for calling, Ralph. You're the greatest. We're going to Nick in New Jersey when we come back, folks. Stick around. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, September 11th, Wednesday, September 11th, 2013. Now, if you're a new listener, you might have been shocked when I said eat a diet that's high in cholesterol. Well, that's because there's no relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. It does not exist. It doesn't exist. There are hundreds of published research studies that prove that, the most famous being the Honolulu Heart Project. They looked at 8,000 people and came to the conclusion that the lower your cholesterol is, the earlier you die. And you don't even have to be a research junkie like yours truly. You don't even have to know how to spell vitamin to figure this out. You just have to have common sense. You need to be able to do a little math. Since the 1980s, when the first cholesterol-lowering statin drugs were released, since the 1980s, since the first cholesterol-lowering statin drugs were released, statin drugs have grown in the United States to be the most prescribed medicine to the tune of about $20 billion in sales a year, $20 billion in sales a year of statin drugs. That's for about, 25 years. We've been doing $20 billion of statin drugs, cholesterol-lowering statin drugs a year. I mean, just look around your office, look around your family, look around your church, and just, ask a question the next time you're in a group of people. How many people are on statin drugs, and see how many hands go up. Everybody is taking statin drugs now, cholesterol-lowering statin drugs, and since we've been cholesterol-phobic, treating cholesterol like the Antichrist, with, statin drugs, fat-free diets, and exercise. Eat your Cheerios every day. They're heart healthy, right? One of the worst foods you can eat, by the way, Cheerios. Since we've been driving cholesterol into the dirt with statin drugs, low-fat diets, and exercise, butter is evil, the rates for heart disease have remained unchanged. just as many people get heart disease now as they ever did. The only statistic that has changed is because the MDs are really good at trauma care. Remember, that's their wheelhouse. They're reductionists. That's what they're good at. They can keep you alive now. You know, after your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth heart attacks. You can have 5 heart attacks now while you're under the care of the MD. But they can't do a gosh darn thing in order to make your heart healthy so that you don't get a heart attack in the first place, and cholesterol drugs ain't working. Oh, and by the way, 95% of the part of the brain that's affected by Alzheimer's disease is made from cholesterol. 95% of the part of the brain that is affected in Alzheimer's disease is made from cholesterol. And if you look at the statistical prevalence of Alzheimer's, it 100% exactly parallels the distribution of statin drugs. Alzheimer's was non-existent before the 1980s, non-existent before the 1980s, and in the middle of the, right around 1985, 1987, it skyrocketed. The first statin drug was introduced in 1982. Skyrocketed. We believe Alzheimer's is a physician-created disease. One more reason to fire your MD. That would make it the 7th reason. We've done 10, 9. That would be the 8th reason to fire your MD. The 8th reason to fire your MD? Statin drugs. It's nonsense. It's not supported by research, and it's certainly not supported by historical fact. But because the MDs are like, a ship of fools, they all do what they're told without question, like, the Gestapo. They all walk in goose step, lockstep. They all hum the same tune, and they don't question authority. And they don't look at research. I mean, and you can say that, look, they just don't have time. Well, I'm a physician. I have time. I'm aware of this stuff. Why aren't they? It's not like it was hard to find. Did you know that the pharmaceutical industry spends $50,000 per doctor per year in free stuff? Did you know that? Did you know that most general practicing physicians get their information on how to treat people not from independent research, and there isn't any independent research anymore because it's all funded by somebody, but they get their information from the drug reps to the tune of $50,000 of stuff and visits and samples and brochures and samples and visits and samples and more brochures. That's why, have you ever wondered why you go to your doctor and the first time he tries a new medicine on you, it's a free sample? Well, what do you think? He's got stock in the drug company and no, he got the samples from the drug rep who took him out to dinner, wined him and dined him, and told him all the greatest things about this particular drug. You think that's unbiased information? This is how medicine is delivered in this country, and this is not the main reason why we're in such a bind, but it doesn't bode well for the intellectual integrity of the profession. But because, that we've been brainwashed because of Marcus Welby and Hawkeye Pierce and Grey's Anatomy and House and all these, Dr. Kildare, remember Dr. Kildare? We've been enculturated to think that the doctor knows what's best for us, the MD knows what's best for us, and that they have high integrity and that, my doctor would never be biased by a drug company. You got to be kidding me. Forbes magazine just admitted 20% of medical care doesn't work in emergency situations. Almost 1 of every 5 patients in the intensive care unit of a major teaching hospital got treatment that was, and I quote, probably futile, according to the doctors who treated them. And older patients, especially those admitted from a nursing facility, were most likely to get care that did nothing to improve the quality of their life. It's the tip of the iceberg, folks. That's why we're dropping like flies. Because we should only go to see the MD if we're bleeding to death or have a broken bone. But we go to see the MD when we have everything. And that's a fool's errand because the MD is not trained in how to fix a chronic disease. They're only trained in how to manage it. They have no idea what causes your high blood pressure. Ask them. They'll tell you it's genetics. It's an autoimmune disease. It's genetic. Well, which gene is it, doctor? I'd like to know. Oh, huff and puff. I'm sorry. I don't know which gene it is. Why, all I know is it's genetic. By the way, I'm the MD. Can't you see I'm the MD? I don't have time for these silly questions. What are you, a psychiatric case? Do I need to refer you to a psychiatrist? Well, huff and puff, huff and puff. Just be quiet and take the med. Right? That's what they tell us. And why on earth we put up with it is beyond me. I think we have Stockholm Syndrome. I do. You know what Stockholm Syndrome is? Well, we first started seeing it, back in the day when I forget who it was. Remember Charlie Manson? When Charlie Manson kidnapped those girls, right? And, they had them for months at a time, and then they all became like his little devotees. Well, the same thing happens if you're kidnapped by somebody, you're detained by somebody forcibly against your will for a long enough period of time, you start to develop feelings of affection for the people that are holding you hostage. It's called the Stockholm Syndrome. You rattle your chains to celebrate your freedom. And this is what we do. We rattle our prescription medications to celebrate our health. And it's insanity. 100% insanity. And it's tragic, too, because, there are science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery which actually support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. And they're delivered by licensed, regulated physicians. But because the MDs are in the driver's seat of medicine, because they monopolize the medical theater, most people don't even know how to pronounce naturopath, let alone know what a naturopathic doctor is or what they do. And so we're up against it. We're up against it hard here. And it's a big, bad voodoo daddy. And that's why everybody in your world needs to know about this radio show, and everybody in your world needs to know about longevity. You've heard the testimonials here. Stay tuned. You're going to cry when you hear more. Nick in New Jersey wants to tell us something. Hey, Nick, I went off on a little tangent there. Thanks for your patience. You are live.
How you doing, Doctor? So glad to talk to you again. I talked to you about 2 weeks ago, and I gave you a whole lifestyle of a miracle of my life, of how many things went wrong with me. But I got to tell you, you told me I'm a fighter. I'm more than a fighter. I lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks.
Unbelievable.
With you gave me the 2 Healthy Start packs, the 4 bottles of selenium, and 2 plant minerals.
Gotta love it.
And I love it, and I love you.
Oh, what else has happened, man? It's all right. So you've lost weight. I'm right with you. I'm right with you, buddy. So what else? Have you noticed anything else positive, like mood, sleep, appetite? Anything else improve?
I have no hardly any cravings.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, right? I know, right? Yeah.
When I do get one, I eat nuts. A handful of nuts, and I'm fine. The only thing I got to get on the right page. You're going to die. I'm almost out of my second week of stuff already. You got to tell me how to mix this, because I did not put too much in there.
It's called the measuring cup, Nick. There's a little scoop in there, man. You just got to measure the scoop. So you got to be like, do your due diligence. So there's a little scoop in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, right?
Right.
So the recommendation is, well, how much do you weigh?
Right now I weigh 248. I was 267.
Yeah, and so you got 2 bottles of the Beyond Tangy, right? 2 Healthy Start packs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then that's 4 level scoops of the Beyond Tangy a day. 4 level scoops a day.
Oh, yeah, I was doing it twice a day. That's why. Okay.
Well, there's no harm and no foul in doing that, and it might have been your unconscious mind working to your advantage because, it worked, right?
Yeah, I love it. It gives me a lot of energy. I love it.
Yeah, and it's really, 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 really hard to overdose with medical nutrition supplements. So you don't need to be worried about that at all. The only problem is a pragmatic problem. Well, if you take too much, you're going to run out of it before your next order, right?
Yeah. And the osteo, I should only have 1 scoop a day or 2 scoops a day?
Well, the osteo, did you get the osteo powder?
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that's a brand new product, and I'm not familiar. But on the label, if you look at the back of the label, right, the back of the bottle, there's a label, and right at the top of the label, it'll say serving size. Now the serving size is either 1 level scoop, or it's all right. So it's 1 level scoop. It's one in the osteo, the powdered osteo. There's a little scoop. It's 1 level scoop per 100 pounds. Per day, so you would need 2 level scoops. So one bottle of the osteo is going to last you 2 weeks.
Right.
All right. So you need 1 scoop of that twice a day, and I'd recommend you take the second scoop right before bed. It'll help you sleep better. You could even try 2 scoops right before bed. That's what I do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I take all my calcium right before bed. Man, I sleep like a freaking baby. It's one of the best sleep aids.
I have terrible sleep apnea too.
Oh, well, look, sleep apnea is a physician-created disease, Nick. Nobody's ever died from sleep apnea. People will tell you that they've died from sleep apnea. They've had a friend that died from sleep apnea, but they didn't. The friend died because their heart stopped beating or they had a lung infection or something else. But the only people that sleep apnea bothers are the people that you're sleeping with, right? Sleep apnea doesn't bother you. I mean, does it? Are you bothered by your sleep apnea?
Breathing.
Hey, stick around, Nick. We're up against the hard break. I want to talk to you some more about this. And then we're going to go to Jason in Montana. Stick around, folks. This is September 11th, our anniversary, and I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden finishing up the first hour of September 11th, 2013's show. We're talking to Nick from New Jersey. So, Nick, I'm curious. Does the sleep apnea bother you? I mean, if you don't use the machine, do you feel like crap the next morning, or are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I'm really, really, really bad. I'm telling you, it's like I don't get no sleep. I wake up 2 or 3 times a night.
Yeah, if you don't use the machine, right?
Right. If I use the machine, I sleep right through the whole night.
Yeah, okay. So the problem here is not, well, you've been misled by the MD, because the problem here isn't your respiratory rate, because your respiratory rate when you're unconscious sorts itself out based upon how much oxygen or how much nitrogen or carbon dioxide is in your blood. And, you know, depending on how fast your metabolism is and what you had to eat that night and how warm or cold it is in your room, all these variables are going to make your breathing do this, that, or the other thing, but it's a completely natural phenomenon. If you're waking up on a regular basis, or if it's difficult to fall asleep, or if the sleep is interrupted, it's because of other reasons than your respiratory rate. It's because of other reasons than your respiratory rate. And the most common 2 reasons for these things are funky blood sugar and a calcium deficiency. Funky blood sugar and calcium deficiency. So, you know, you've had these conditions for a long time, and healing is a process. It's not an event. So eventually, part of the plan here, Nick, part of the plan for you is going to be to have you, get so healthy with the medical nutrition and, eliminating the 10 bad foods that you're not going to need the sleep apnea machine anymore. And I doubt very much that you're going to need, I'm thinking that in the new year, in 2014, you'll be able to sleep without it. I'm telling you, you don't have sleep apnea. It's a made-up disease. It's a made-up disease. And the sleep apnea machine is like giving somebody who has migraine headaches morphine. Well, you take the morphine, you don't feel the headaches, do you? No, but the morphine doesn't cure the headaches. Pretty soon the headaches come back, the morphine wears off, the next night you got to use the machine, the next night you got to use the machine, the next night you got to use the machine. It's like painting over the mold in the basement. It's not really fixing it. I'm going to bet you, 25 cents right now that this whole sleep apnea nonsense will be gone, and I'm predicting it's going to be gone by January of 2014. Does that sound like a plan?
Can I ask you? Yes, it is. Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a 5-year-old grandson who has eczema real bad.
Oh, yeah.
What can I do for him? He's scratching and making these things bleed, and he's suffering, this poor kid, and nobody, they just keep giving him these lotions, and I'm getting fed up with it now, and I think he needs help real bad.
Okay, so that's an easy thing to get on the other side of. 99% of the time, that's an essential fatty acid deficiency, an EFA deficiency, and it's an allergy to a grain, usually wheat. So I would tell his mother to have him stop to eliminate from his diet wheat, barley, rye, and oats. No more wheat, no more barley, no more rye, no more oats, just like you. The kid has to go gluten-free. And I would give him 6 of the EFA Plus capsules a day. 6 of the EFA Plus capsules a day. 2 with breakfast, 2 with lunch, 2 with dinner. Eliminate wheat. Now, if the parents are, amenable, then he would get 1 healthy start pack. You'd hook him up with 1 healthy start pack because there's essential fatty acids in there, and you would dose him appropriate for his body weight, right? So with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, it's 1 scoop per 50 pounds per day. With the OsteoFX, it's 1 scoop per 100 pounds per day. And with eczema, I would just give him 9 or 2, 4, 6 of the EFAs a day, 6 of the EFAs a day. Now, in a perfect world, you'd give him all 3 of these things. But that might be a hard sell for his parents. I don't know. If it is a hard sell, just give him the EFAs, the ultimate EFAs, or actually the EFA Plus, which is what you have, the EFA Plus. Give him 6 of those a day for 4 weeks, and counsel his parents to eliminate from his diet and theirs wheat, barley, rye, and oats. I'm telling you, you're going to love what happens to this kid. It's going to take about 3 weeks. It's going to be gone. Call me back with a report, Nick. You're doing a good job down there in New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all out of time in the first hour. When we come back at 6 after, we're going to go talk to Jason in Montana about asthma. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around.